I'm a hustler, baby.
It's time for Hustle Her Podcast. I'm your host, Deshae Keynes. Hustle Her is all about inspiring women through real life experiences that have helped to mold and develop not only me, but my guests into the entrepreneurs and leaders we are today. If you're an enterprising woman determined to succeed and looking for a bit of motivation, a bit of tough love, and some actionable takeaways to be the best you, girl, you are in the right place. Hey guys, and welcome back to Hustle Her Podcast. Do me a favor, pause right now and make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you visit www.hustleherpodcast.com and sign up to be one of our VIP members. We're so excited that you guys are joining us today, but we want to make sure that you keep in contact. You're going to come back anyway and watch the next episode, so you might as well subscribe and become a VIP member so you can be a part of all the cool things that we have coming up. My next guest is the CEO and the best to ever do it hairdresser in Bermuda of the Crowned Experience, Samaela Cannonier. How are you?
I'm wonderful, and how are you today?
I'm good. Did I do my hair right today?
You did it wonderfully. You look amazing.
Thank you very much. You know, it's really important. It's a lot of pressure when, the person who does your hair kind of sees you after this. Got to make sure.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Got to be a good advertisement for everything that's going
on. You always are.
Thank you. Just not on a Friday or on the way into the shop. That's when I'm the most relaxed.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah?
You always look great.
Yeah, it's fine. All right. So we're going to run through some quick questions.
Okay.
Get to know you a little bit better, and we'll go from there.
All right.
All right. All right. Favorite color?
Definitely emerald green.
Very specific.
I love just the way that it reflects light. I wear a lot of jade. Which is kind of along that color palette.
Right.
So that is my favorite color. Most people would think it's white because all I do is wear white and black.
A lot of white and black.
I love green.
Okay. Fair point. All right. Favorite meal? Favorite thing to eat?
Ooh, that's hard.
Really?
Yeah. I like so much food, but I think if I could pick like my dying meal, it would be beef ribs with mashed potato. That's my dying meal.
So do you know Woody's on Saturday nights? They make beef ribs on Saturdays. Probably some of the best beef ribs. And I'm not a big meat eater. That could be they're the best. Like they're
really?
so good.
I'm gonna have to go. Then I may have it off on a Saturday.
I was just gonna say, but no, it's at night. Like we usually go Saturday nights.
Okay.
My uncle and my aunt, they were like the first people that told me about them. And then I went down there one Saturday. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys have beef ribs? And they're like, yeah, one order left because they go.
Like that.
Yeah, they're delicious. Just try them. All right, celebrity crush.
Ooh. Channing Tatum.
Really?
Yes.
I would have never guessed.
Mike.
Girl. Have you watched all of them? It's like 3 now.
The new one. I keep seeing the previews. I've got to see it.
Oh my god.
Love him. He's amazing.
He's cute.
He's good looking.
I haven't been able to unsee when he dressed up like a woman for the lip sync challenge when he sang Beyonce.
You know what? I didn't see that.
Don't watch it.
That might ruin it for me.
It might ruin it for you. I haven't been able to come back. Don't do it. Favorite song?
Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
I like that song.
That is my shower song. Literally, I blast that.
Do you sing it in the shower?
I belt it. You know how I sing in the shop. Yes. I belt that one.
Yes, you do sing in the shop. And don't let Samaela be feeling a song. It's on repeat. And so in the shop while you're getting your hair done, and like that CeeLo song is in my like regular rotation of music now. That was because of you.
Yeah.
Good song. What was that song called?
Fool for Love.
Yes, it's a good song.
Fool for You.
Fool for You.
Fool for You.
Fool for You. CeeLo Green. Shout out to CeeLo. He hasn't put out anything in a while.
No, he's had a lot of scandal.
Really?
Yes. Going on in the background. That's why he's been silent for a while.
Hopefully it's nothing we can't listen to his music for anymore.
I think it is, but
oh no,
we're still gonna love that song though.
Because R. Kelly, we can't.
No, at all. He is banned for life.
I saw this thing online that was like where we've banned what's his real name? Robert something, whatever his real name is.
I couldn't say.
We've banned him as a person, but his music is R. Kelly. Like, so we haven't banned that.
No.
But no.
No,
it's sad though because he had some really
bangers.
good songs.
Yes, and almost every song of our generation he was on.
The amount of things he wrote as well.
Like almost every I think almost every hit.
Yeah.
He's in.
Yeah, it's insane. It's just like, ugh, you just feel so icky. Just like even hearing it now. Like,
I can't.
Even when you're out, you're just like, how out of touch are you to be playing this song right now?
Yeah.
Like, I Believe I Can Fly at graduations.
Ooh,
like, come
that's
on.
still the ingrained.
Right?
It's a culture thing.
Oh, girl.
For sure.
All right. What was your last impulse buy?
Girl, I bought some clothes from Pretty Little Thing this week. And I really know I shouldn't have done it.
But you did it anyway.
But it was a high paid week. And I was like, I
no,
deserve this.
I deserve.
I'm buying myself a couple of sets. And I surely did.
Yeah. Okay. What's something you misplace a lot?
Probably my keys every single day of my life.
Really?
I need to get a dish. And you know what happens?
As soon as you walk in the door.
No, but my kids move my stuff all the time. And then, oh, I forgot something in the car. So they take the keys out of my bag.
Got it.
Half the time we're in the car ready to leave. And the keys are somewhere in the house. So that is I should do better.
Just got a little hook right by the door.
I need to get one of those tiles.
Oh, yes. Or the AirTag
Yes,
things.
I need to get something like that because literally my keys are my one thing that I never knew where they are.
So as an entrepreneur, like a lot of times we miss out on things because we have to work, right? So what's something you wish you enjoyed more?
Time with my children, I think, is the biggest thing that has taken a hit for me. And as I grow within the business, I realize that I don't have to work so many hours. Saturdays are tough for me because my son's just starting to play football. And although I've altered my schedule quite a bit, I still miss, a portion of his game. So I think, if anything, balancing my time so that I can spend more time with them is the hardest thing for me at this stage.
Oh, that's difficult. All right, let's jump in. What's something you would tell your 18-year-old self that you know now that you wish you knew then?
That's a good one. I think save money. I think when we're younger, I was working at 18. Basically a full-time job. My dad had me working at the gas station.
Wow.
And I blew all of my money because I wouldn't say that they didn't teach me how to save and manage my money better. I just think at that age, you see things that you like. Oh, I want a new bike. Oh, I need a coat for my bike. I need these things. I want to go out to dinner. I want to go out for a drink over the weekend. And now I think if I would have had better money management skills then, I probably would be a lot further along now. So definitely save money management and saving for sure.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but that's actually a really good point. Like you don't learn that much about saving money and managing money until you have money to do that with. And at that age, I feel like that's a good time to kind of
get it in.
Yeah,
I keep saying I want to teach my children that as they grow.
Like saving, putting things aside.
Yes, from young.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So tell me about little Samaela. Like, what did little Samaela want to do growing up?
It's crazy. I wanted to be a nurse.
What?
Do you ever remember at BI, they would do like career day and your parents would make you up an outfit. And my mom made me this nurse outfit probably like I want to say it was in kindergarten, maybe first grade.
Right.
And I wanted to be a nurse and I would go around and try to perform little, medical procedures on my dolls and my friends and my family. Now I couldn't even fathom dealing with blood and fluid. Not for me. But I wanted to be a nurse when I was younger. That was my thing.
So then when did that change? When did that kind of evolve into something else?
I'm not exactly sure because I even think when I was in high school I wanted to be a teacher. I would have never thought, even at 17, that I would have become a hairdresser. And that would become I would specialize in extensions or hair loss alternatives and things like that. That was never even on my radar. I was always creative. I could always draw and make things, but never did I ever think that this would be what I would become.
Right.
So even, like I said, about 17, I wanted to be a teacher like my mom. That was like my thing. And I think if I wouldn't have come to Bermuda and moved in with my dad, I probably would have been
A teacher.
A board teacher.
I was just going to say, because I could not imagine, not saying that you wouldn't be good with kids, but like I couldn't imagine you doing anything other than creative type. I mean, unless you're like,
I didn't even like my own children at the time. And that is such a
not
mom
supposed to
honest
say that,
statement.
but it's honest.
It's true. It's transparent and true.
Yeah.
No, I love my children. Let me just clarify that. But children take a lot. When they're yours, it's a different thing. When they're other people's, you can't do as much. I couldn't see myself being a teacher.
Yeah, definitely. So when did that transition? I know you said you moved to Bermuda and you were with your dad. So when did that kind of, okay, no, teaching isn't for me, I want to go into X?
I think probably around 18, 19, I would say. I just, living with my dad expanded me to more. You know, I grew up strict 7-day Adventist. And my mom is still very a devout 7-day Adventist, and she has taught me great moral standing.
Yeah.
And really much is, she embodies a part of who I am, you know. My dad kind of is a little bit more on the creative side and a little bit more open to differences. And living under his roof, he allowed me to find myself.
I love that.
As well as help me along that journey with how I should be.
Yeah.
And he didn't limit me at all to anything. So I would shave my hair off. I think at one time I shaved it, I bleached it, and then I relaxed it within the span of maybe 5 days. And a whole patch of hair
Just came off.
slid right off of my head. And I called my best friend. I was like, Kelly, I have a bald patch in my hair.
Oh my gosh.
She was like, how? what did you do?
Like,
and here
what
I
did
am running through the list of things that I had done to my head. And I remember my daddy coming in the bathroom and just shaking his head. He's like, if you don't go to school for hair, I don't know what to tell you. Just look, learn how to put it back on or fix it, right? So that, I think, was really the start of my journey. I really started experimenting with myself, with makeup and, you know, my style. And then, of course, my hair. God, I think between maybe 18 and probably 23, I had every range of color, style, cut, no hair the next day. I had it all.
Yeah.
So that was really like a transitional phase for me because I was learning myself.
Which I think is good, right? Yeah. Like being able to do that, and that's how you express yourself was in your hair.
Definitely. So that's where I really got into it. Nice. And then, you know, going to school. And
where'd you go to school?
I did Tony and Guy in Warwick, Rhode Island, which was close to where I grew up in Massachusetts. So the school itself was phenomenal. I did Fashion Week. I did competitions while I was out there. We had magazine articles written about us. So I was in everything that they had.
That's really good. That's amazing exposure.
It is. Right? Tabitha Coffey came to my school, really and I got to assist underneath her. I was handpicked out of a group of students to do that. So I had a lot of exposure and experience while I was in school. So it was amazing. I had a good time.
So when you finished that and you came back to Bermuda, did you come back to Bermuda right after?
I came right back to Bermuda.
Okay. And then you jumped right into being a hairdresser? Like, what happened after that?
I did. My first job posting was at Salon 27 on Reed Street.
I can't even picture where that is.
It's in the LOM building. It's right next to...
Yes.
I think there's a glasses store.
Yes.
Right there.
I think Argus Optical now.
So that was my first job ever. And I was there for a couple of months. Learned a lot. Figured out that I do not work well with others. Salons are full of women. Yeah. And women can be very catty.
Yeah.
So I decided from there that I wanted to go to something smaller. I went to a smaller salon in St. George's and started to, I guess, build up somewhat of a clientele. And then I opened my own place from there. So I want to say probably about a year or less than a year out of school, I had my own salon.
Wow. That's really good. Like, a lot of people don't jump in, especially in Bermuda. Like, they say we have tons of hairdressers in Bermuda. Like, I mean,
it's
there's
oversaturated, for sure.
Yeah, there's like a salon on every block. It's like churches. We probably have the most hair salons per capita as well. So it's really difficult to kind of jump right in and then start your own place. Like, so did you stay in your own place or did you come back and, how did that work?
Well, I had the salon, I want to say for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got pregnant with my daughter and I was put on bed rest. So I couldn't physically work, which was terrible because it left a gap in people getting their hair done. So then at the time, my ex-husband basically built me a salon in our home so that people can come to the house and get their hair done. Right. So I was working from home probably up until Miley was about 2. And then I went back from there. Wow. So it's I've always really worked for myself. I don't really like working for other people because I feel like you should have the freedom to be self-expressive and be who you are. Yeah. I did take a break and I went into the medical field and I worked at the hospital for quite some time. And then that was always, I guess, a bridge to where I wanted to be. Because I said, okay, well, let me, I guess, get a regular job was the thought process.
It's so crazy how we say regular job.
Let me get a regular job and structure myself financially so that I can open up a bigger salon. And when I was working at the hospital, again, I kind of had put hair on the back burner. Now I've got 2 kids. I've got a house that I need to, be mother of, and so many things on my portfolio that I need to do. Yeah. Then blam, out of nowhere, hair extensions. I started seeing them everywhere. I'm like, okay, I was getting my hair weaved at the time. I like my hair to be longer and fuller. Everybody likes that. And then I'm like, well, let me tell my hairdresser to go and take a class. I gave her all the information. This is where you can go. This is how much it costs.
So you told your hairdresser to do this?
Yes, girl, go take this course. I need you to do these links in my hair. Like, I need that. Yeah. And she didn't go and take it. So my mama said, well, aren't you a hairdresser? go do this class. And I said, yeah, I really should. So I researched it over time, figured out when I should go, all the costs about traveling and doing it. If I needed to renew my license in the States, because I haven't. I graduated in 2011. And from there, 2010, April 2010. And I haven't renewed my American hairdressing license since then. Because Bermuda, we don't need that.
Yeah, you don't need it.
Anyway, I graduated and that was that. So I decided to go. And my mom traveled with me and my best friend. Nice. And we went and I did this hair course. And it was amazing. It really gave me a new lease on something to be interested in. Right. And from there, I've completely put a whole spin on it. I've learned a lot about people's hair and about our hair as well, and how to better take care of Black women's hair.
Especially with extensions.
Yes. So it's a whole, it's a whole movement for me. Because yes, I have clients that come and they just want their hair to be longer, but I have the majority, 75%, either are experiencing hair loss or are on their way to hair loss.
Got you.
So it is, yes, while it's marketable because people want to look a certain way. Yeah. In a lot of ways, I do more functional hairstyles than just for I want it. Okay. If that makes sense.
Well, that's really good to know because I knew you specialize in the hair loss, those types of things because, just being in the salon, I'm a part of the 25%. I might be on the other side one day. You never know.
Never. But, not under my care.
No, I'm joking. But no, I totally understand that because a lot of times, and people just assume, and because I didn't know this until I started coming to you, that you went to school for hair and that you knew how to do, everything as opposed to just kind of like extensions in whatever form that was at the time. And I think that kind of sets you apart to like the people who were just doing extensions. Like you're the full package of hair care. Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. Which is really important because you're not going to put something in someone's hair just to get the dollar, right? You're gonna be like, you know what? No, this isn't going to work for you, Deshay. We need to do this because your hair's going to break off.
Yeah, it's about being, for me, teachable as well as accountable for what you're doing. people come, I've been approached since I started. People asking me, regular people, oh, can I learn? Can you teach me? Especially when I started to teach, a lot of people came out of the woodwork and were just, oh, can I take your class? Okay, well, are you an aspiring hairdresser? Are you planning to go to school? Are you in school? No, I just want to basically make money. And while you make good money, it's great, it's lucrative. How are you going to do someone's hair when they're having a problem?
Got you.
How are you going to approach someone's hair when they're experiencing breakage? How are you going to do someone's hair who has little to no hair and they want something special?
Yeah.
Or they need something special. Yeah. You have to know what you're doing at the end of the day. And you have to, for me, have a spirit of discernment, because I've made close calls, but I'm qualified to make close calls. Yeah. And especially when I see someone's hair going in a direction that it's not supposed to go, we can quickly make a decision and say, well, this is what we need to do, because I have the training and the expertise to do such a thing.
Absolutely. Which, like I said, is super important, because a lot of times people are coming to you because they want their hair to just be longer, or it's too thin and you want it to be thicker, or whatever that may or may not look like. And being able to give that advice to people, like I've heard you in the salon and the person's like, yeah, well, I just want the links or whatever. You're like, well, no, we can't do that to your hair. Like, we need to do something that's going to hold on. And, you know, people don't always like that because they just want that immediate length or volume or whatnot. But you're like, well, no, you're not going to do that one and have me out here looking crazy, but I'm not going to have you looking crazy.
Exactly.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, each one of my clients is a walking billboard for me. And I mean, it's rarely a day or a week that goes by where somebody doesn't come in and say, girl, somebody was looking all in my head, because they want to come get their hair done, or I got a compliment and I gave someone your number. Yeah. It's always, I mean, for me, that's been my greatest promotional thing is word of mouth, and my clients looking great walking around. I mean, you know, some people look a mess sometimes. I know I look a mess sometimes, but you know, for the most part, people are consistent with how their hair looks.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're under my care.
So like, I know you just said word of mouth is really big for you, but like what most people don't realize, Samaela is also in St. George's, like her salon's in St. George's, right? For those of you who don't know that, St. George's is on the most eastern part of the island. And most people don't like drive. Bermuda's not that big. But most people don't like driving very far. And so most people would think your salon being in St. George's is a deterrent. But you go on that booking site, baby, and it is full all the time. Like, you have to book months in advance. Like, I sit in her chair and I book like 3 months, all my appointments for 3 months. And how do you build that successful customer base? Because word of mouth is fine, but then they have to come to you and they have to keep wanting to come to you. So how does that work?
I think one thing that has worked for me is consistency. People look at my Instagram page and they'll come in, they say, I've been stalking you for like 2 years. I look at every post that you put out. And although I have taken a major hit with the posting because I've just been busy, a lot of things going on in the background.
Yeah, it happens.
But I think the consistency, and then again, it's the word of mouth too. You know, I think I have who my demographic is. Yeah. And I think I market myself, even the way that the salon looks, the aesthetic, myself even. You have to be a walking billboard for yourself every day. So I think mostly my clients tell someone comes in, or mostly people take a look at my page and they see over the years that the work has been consistent. That it's basically a guarantee that I'm going to have great hair if I come and sit in your chair. Yeah. So I think more so that's what's gotten me across, is the consistency over time, as well as definitely people, because my clients just go to her, but then they're like, oh, I don't want to tell people to come to you because then I wouldn't have a spot.
Girl. All the time.
So it's the struggle. It's like, oh, I wanna promote you, but at the end of the day, like, I need my appointment too.
This is it. You got to book.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, you really, really have to. It's so important. But I love the fact that you have such, and you're so personable in the salon as well, right? So you come in, you're asking about your family. You know, you've seen a range of emotions from me, depending on the day. You know what I mean? So you're almost like a therapist in the salon as well, right? Like, you're almost like, what's going on, checking in, and being able to be, it's not just transactional. Like, you feel like you're coming in, you feel like you're being taken care of. And I think that that's something that I know I'm gonna just say it. I think that is something that helps with the retention of the clients. You know what I mean? Outside of your hair being fried, dyed, and laid to the side, but not fried. But just joking. All that I think helps as well.
It's an experience. I think every time you come to anywhere where you spend your time and your money, you want it to be an experience every single time. And I mean, although this past year has been tumultuous for me, my clients have been my backbone, where I'm the same for them.
Absolutely.
We can have group conversations. We can talk about personal things because they know it's going to stay right where it is.
Yeah.
And yes, I am therapist. Let me tell you, I should go and get a double degree because I do have to give advice at the end of the day. I have to listen as well as talk to, because it's a family. I love every one of my clients. I have a relationship with each one of them. To the point where some of them have my personal number. We talk on a regular, we talk about life things. And I really like that because it's a safe space.
Yeah.
And it's a calm space. Sometimes it's a party, but it depends on any given day. But it's an experience each time. Definitely. And I love experiencing everybody that walks in the door.
That's really good. So as an entrepreneur, like how does that affect your personal life? Like how does that?
I think the most thing is my time. It's because it's a labor of love. I've had a hard time saying no. I mean, I'll get clients. I mean, just yesterday, people messaging me, "Oh, I want to come and get my hair done next week." And I'm like, oh, I know that my schedule is rammed. And I find myself still looking to try to squeeze them in because I don't want anybody to go without their hair done. But I think now I'm in a space where I am strategic about my time. I'm taking more time for myself so that I can have time for the business. I think that's another learning curve for me, is not managing enough time to manage the inner workings of the business, the social media aspect, which is important to get new people coming in the door. So, yes, of course, spend more time with my family. But I also find that managing time to spend within the business is important too. Yeah. So now I cut back my hours a little bit. I take a Tuesday off. If I see that it hasn't booked enough, I move around appointments. And I take a sick day if I need a mental health day.
Yeah.
Before I would never. I've been sick maybe like a total of 5 times over the past 3 years where I've actually needed, like a couple of days to catch myself. But other than that, I'm at work. Yeah. Because I love what I do. Yeah. But managing time is, I think, the most difficult part for me.
Do you think your kids understand that mommy's at work, she's working for us?
Girl, I tell them, if I don't go to work, you don't get none of the nice things that you are used to. Yeah. All these snacks that I have to buy after school, they're not cheap. Chocolate bars are $4, and Mayan wants a Reese's Pieces 4-pack every day. I'm like, bro, it costs money, so I'm gonna send them to I'm like, I need to work to support your habits. Yeah. So I jokingly say stuff like that to them. Of course they complain if I work late, because mommy, we want to leave, or when are you coming home? But they understand that this is something that's gonna be progressive. I talk to my children. I don't try to make them adults or talk to them too grown, but I also try to help them understand that hard work is important, but working smart is important too. Yeah. So I do have to dedicate time to working so that we are comfortable and comfortable for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I guess looking back, because I know you said you transitioned a few things, like you went into the hospital, you kind of came back. Would you change anything about your path that's gotten you to where you are now? Or is there something you wish you would have done a little bit sooner?
I think that if I would have taken the plunge with the extensions sooner, I would be further ahead. But I do not regret any portion of my journey because I love where I'm at right now. Yeah. And although it's not where I want to be, I'm still building myself to that point. I love every day that I wake up and I get to go into my own business and that I get to do what I chose as my career to do.
I love that. Yeah. Not very many people can say that. Like most people don't wake up every day and love what they do. Like I say it all the time, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's
like
not. It's
at
not.
all.
It's scary.
It's very scary. It's a lot of it you have to, like we were just talking about this, trial and error. You know what I mean? It's a lot of figuring things out on the go, on the fly. But that sense of accomplishment when you do something and you did it is a different type of gratification.
Yes, it's a high that you get of just being who you are and loving everything that you do. And for me, I couldn't imagine waking up and making somebody else's time.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine calling in to say, hey, I'm not feeling well today. I couldn't imagine going in and being told off or being told that I can't take vacation when I want it. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
At all.
I'm telling you, as someone who has gone back from being a full-time entrepreneur, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Luckily my CEO is very flexible around that. And that was something we spoke about before I kind of took the plunge. It is definitely challenging. Like when you're an entrepreneur, you can flex your schedule to what you want it to be. Like, you want to go on vacation, you can block it out. But then the flip side of that is, when do I take vacation? Like when I was doing weddings full time, I couldn't go away from like May to September. Like, you know what I mean? Like your friends are out on raft ups on Sundays and you're doing a wedding, right? Like, take those things you just can't do. But, but I liked what you said earlier around fixing your schedule to enjoy life, right? It's important. But you learn that as you become a more seasoned entrepreneur.
For sure. Yeah. I think once you get comfortable, I think getting comfortable was difficult because figuring out when I should work, how I should work. And I think when I first started with the business full time, because for a short time frame, I was working on the weekend. So I was working 7 days a week.
So while you're at the hospital?
When I was working at the hospital, I was doing Crowned by Sam, which it was at the time.
Yeah.
Saturdays and Sundays, and it would be nights. I remember.
Wait, every day?
Every day for almost a year, about a year. I did 7 days a week.
Jeez.
I would walk home. Yeah, I would walk home from the square at like 2:00 in the morning because I had just finished someone's hair. Because I was not only was I thirsty, or I should say hungry. Hungry is a better word.
Yeah.
For the success, but so many people were coming, and it was like I couldn't even fit on the weekend the amount of people that wanted their hair done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this has become a lot bigger than I expected it to be. So I had to grow the plan overnight. And then I decided, okay, well, it's time to stop now and do it full time. And I walked away from my job.
Really?
With no regret. I was scared. Yeah. Really scared because I'm like, I know that I make money, but what about every day? Like, 5 or 6 days a week. And then even then I was working more than I should have been working.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've learned and I've grown and I've evolved over time to be better. And I'm still on a path to being better because the business is growing more and more. And I'm like, oh, I need to maybe take a money management course. Maybe I need to get an accountant at this stage. Yep. I'm learning how to outsource things too.
Do it, girl.
Because that's helping me with my time management, which I said this year I was going to do.
Yep, absolutely. You have to, though. It's one of the things, if I were asking the question to myself, I would have done sooner in that journey was the vendors that help you run the business, like the finance aspect of it. Those things are time consuming, like following up on invoices and doing all that type of stuff. It's very time consuming. And you find yourself doing those in the beginning, you find yourself doing those on your off time as opposed to working into the schedule during the work day.
Yes.
And as entrepreneurs, sometimes we're like, I'm an entrepreneur 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is true, but you still have to find that time. Right?
Exactly. Your mind, I think more so, your mind is traveling. Even when I'm in rest mode, when I'm sleeping, ideas are popping into my head. I have a notebook next to on my nightstand that I literally sit and just jot things down when I have a free moment because it's so much that I want to do. It's so much that can be done. But it's so little time.
Yeah.
And by the time I get home, I'm going to cook, get my children ready for bed,
Yeah,
and
that's a
get
whole different
myself
aspect.
into,
Yeah.
relax mode.
Mhm.
And there's no time.
Yeah. No, it isn't enough time in the day. I do agree with that. I read this thing one time that was like, no, there is enough time in the day. You just need to manage your time better. I don't know if I agree with that. Depending on what stage you're in life, right? But I guess it just depends on that. But what are some of the things like you wish as an entrepreneur? And I know you say you have like ideas all the time that you wish you could do, but like you just not right now. Like, what are those restraints on you? Is it just time? Is it, what does that look like for you as the entrepreneur?
Well, I think what I want to do, and I think more so where I'm headed now, is going more into the informational and teaching side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have at this stage in my career time to teach as much as I would like to. I do have quite a few students out there, and I would like to teach more.
Okay.
Because that's really it's less strenuous. I think I'm naturally patient with people, and I want people to, I guess, have that vibrance and have that fire for what they want to do. And so I love to sit up and teach. I can be impatient when I talk too much and nobody hears me. That bothers me. But I would like to get more so into the teaching side, and do that more instead of being behind the chair. I always said to myself, I'm not going to be behind the chair past 30.
Girl,
And I'm 33 and I have no time to slow down, because there's no way my clients are going to go to somebody else. It's not going to happen.
Sure won't.
So I think now where I'm learning, I'm shifting the business a little bit because it's growing. I guess in my plan for myself, I've written it down. That's where I want to head into teaching.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
How important is it to have a plan as an entrepreneur?
1,000%. You have to plan. You can't, yes, it's okay to do things on the fly, but if you don't have, I guess, parameters, where are you going to be? You can't be all over the place. I've been all over the place with my business. I've done too much. Now I just stick to my plan. I stick to where I want to go. I give myself time frames.
Yeah. This
year, this is boom, 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 so that it's more strategic and I'm more relaxed because I know I'm on that path.
Absolutely.
Being all over the place is uncomfortable for me.
But it doesn't help anyone either, right? And it shows itself in what you're doing sometimes too, because you're not zoned in on what it is that you want to do in that point in time. So I totally get that 100%. For sure. Yeah. Planning out is really, really important for the business, especially like multiple years, like in 2 years and 3, 5, whatever that looks like. This is where I want to be. And like aiming towards that is always really important.
For sure. Because a lot of times in business, plans are financial. So it takes money, not only just, okay, well, this is what I want to do. You need financial backing to do these things.
Yeah. So
planning, okay, well, I'm going to save this amount every month or, quarterly, so that you're sticking to what you want to do is important.
Yeah, totally important. How would you say the way your parents raised you kind of molded the entrepreneur that you are today? Like, what were some of the things they did growing up that you're kind of like, oh, yeah, that's why I do what I do?
Well, I think my dad always taught me, he always says this, let your conscience be your guide. Definitely was raised in a strict home. Where, I don't know, we weren't given many options. And even though in a world of options, I think my parents made sure that our moral standing was right. That we were taught to be honest, to be true.
Yeah.
As well as to be loving. I think that's my biggest takeaway from, I guess, my upbringing as a whole. Just to be loving. My grandmother is always telling me, be humble and be loving and just be genuine.
Yeah.
Don't put on a front for anybody. Sometimes we do, depending on who we're with or where we're at.
Yeah.
But just to be humble and to be loving and to be understanding. And I think we talk about this all the time, is giving each other grace, and as well as giving yourself grace. I think that's more so something that I'm adopting as I get older. And even when I would say that I'm very close to my parents still to this day. My mom is like my best friend. We be fighting like cats and dogs, but I can't go a day without her.
Yeah.
You know, because she's still at this big age. I've been married. I've got 2 kids. I've had a home, you know, so even at my big age, I still listen to her advice. I still go to her for most everything. Even with my dad, I call him and I'm having a meltdown.
Girl,
Daddy, I need you.
Girl,
you know, and he's right there with good advice. And although he tells me, you already know what you need to do because I've taught you and I've raised you in such a way, you already know what needs to be done. Stop second guessing yourself and do it. You know, so I get more so the strict parenting from him now at this stage. And my mom is more so, well, girl, you know what you're supposed to be doing, or I raised you this way. But definitely both to be loving and to be gracious to people. And I try to do that. I know I could be a real somebody when I'm ready. But I'm learning as I get older to embody that.
Yeah.
To just be loving.
Yeah. I think it also, when you get older, like we go through these phases with our parents growing up. Like we love them when we're little. And then we get to this phase where we're like, ugh, parents, right? And then it's so crazy how life turns. And like in the phase that I'm at in life, we're at now, you rely on them too for advice, to talk to walk things through, like different things. Like I call my dad every single day. Like it's not a game. And it's, you know, it's one of those things where you got to run them by them, you know, that they know you the best, you trust them, you know, good, bad, and ugly, you kind of, you know, run. I think it's okay. Like
there's nothing wrong with it. The thing about it is you sign up for parenthood for life, you know, and even when, like I'm watching my mom right now, and I guess even with my dad too, my grandparents are getting older, both my grandmothers. Yeah. And although they have a parent, they're parenting and being there for their parents, you know? And I look at my children and I'm like, you know, I can't wait to see them through every stage. And I think now I laugh at myself so much because I heard myself say these same things my mom used to say. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. And I'm like, oh, this is why she used to tell me not to do this, or this is why she used to tell me to do these things, or, you know, just going ahead of myself. And I'm like, wow, I really am in this spot. Yeah. You know? People rely on me. So the relationship is really important, in my opinion. Like I rely on my parents for everything.
Yeah. So who would you say is your biggest inspiration then?
In my life? That's difficult because I wouldn't say I idolize both of my parents. But in a lot of ways, I look up to my sister too. We're learning to have a closer relationship with each other. But I just think that she is, to me, amazing. I think my dad is amazing. He's done so many things that other people would never be able to do. And even my mother, she is phenomenally herself. You know, she's in a stage of life where she's quit her job to start her own business. And although I've been encouraging her for forever since I started my business, like, you're really talented in these, you know, aspects. Right. Jump and do it, you know? Yeah. Where she looks up to me in a lot of ways, and she comes to me for advice now from a business standpoint. But I look up to, I would say, those 3 people the most. I go to my sister a lot about business advice because she's further ahead than I am. And I sit and listen to her and I could just melt because she knows so much. Right. She's into everything. So I think now I'm starting to appreciate the milestone she had to go over in order for me to be able to come behind her and get that advice, you know? Yeah. And be really standing behind her. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything, like, not necessarily fear, but it's something you're a bit timid about when it comes to entrepreneurship, and you're just kind of like still a little, you know, hesitant about making those types of decisions? Like what's something like that?
Always spending money and spending thousands of dollars at a time. I have grown to just hit the pay button when I get a quote from a supplier, when I know that I need to upgrade a portion of the business, when I look at products and their ever rising cost, as well as shipping costs. You know, I'm learning to just bite the bullet.
Just do it.
I really am. Because naturally want to save money, but understanding at the same time that growth is not going to happen if it's not on a financial stage too.
Yeah.
So that's been, I think, my most difficult thing, because, you know, sometimes I look at the month and I'm like, oh, I spent this much on supplies. Oh my goodness. You know, and there's no way I can really cut back.
Yeah.
Because you need what you need in order to operate. But those big ticket items, when I want to do a brush order and it's got to come from the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, when the extensions are priced high, I'm like, okay, girl, buy these extensions. You know, you need quality. You know, buy these brushes because you know you need quality. I have to have those conversations in my head.
Yeah.
And tell myself, do it. You know. So I think that's been the hardest thing for me, is just going with it when it comes to the finances.
Yeah.
Taking the plunges.
That, and yeah, I agree with you there. But then also, people don't see that side of it when they look at prices, like how much it takes for you, what your prices are, right? And then like, oh my God, that person's so expensive, regardless of what the entrepreneurship kind of service or product is. They don't see the back end of what it takes to bring these things in. Or, you know, if you're providing a service, sometimes it's, you know, how long it took me to get to this point.
Everything,
you know what I mean?
that goes into every person's head of hair starts from somewhere.
Yeah.
Not only does it take my time to talk to them and understand, first of all, their hair journey, why their hair, if it's in a state, why it's in that state, or how they possibly got there. Because a lot of times it's not only, people aren't always transparent with their journey. So I have to figure it out. It takes time, and takes expertise. And then by time, okay, say we get the extensions, I've got to match it to your hair.
Yeah.
I've got to match your color.
Yeah.
I've got to make sure that the extensions are the right weight for your hair. All of these things, it all goes in time. I've got to prep them before they go in your head, and then I've got to put them on your head. I've got to style them. I've got to cut them. I've got to blend it correctly. So it's time consuming, and it costs money
to do, and you're paying for your time as well. Like, that's the other part of it. I didn't realize, I knew you were good, but I didn't realize how good it was for you until you let one of your students, you're like, do you mind if she kind of does some of your install on you? And I was like, sure. And she did it. And I wasn't going anywhere that day, but it was so much slower than how you do it. Right. And that was the first time I was like, oh no, Samaela's a beast. Like, she goes really quickly with what she's doing, but that's what you're paying for. That's what people are paying for. They're paying for your, you know, your education, how long you've been doing it. Like, if I would have gone to that person for the first time, instead of being in a chair for 2 hours, I would have been in there for 4, maybe 6, you know what I mean? And sometimes people don't see that in the pricing. They don't understand, okay, yeah, I might be priced at X, but you're paying for X amount of years of experience for what you're getting.
And as well as each person's hair, I don't think people really understand. So everybody whose hair I touch has a different install. It's not a one size fits all sort of thing. Even with your hair, you like to be able to swoop it to the side and have it flick back correctly. So I've got to cut it and blend it with your hair so that it does that naturally, you know, without looking forced. I've got to make sure that the textures are matching, that the color is matching. It takes a lot. Not only that, but how does this person's hair fall naturally?
Yeah.
How do they like to brush it? When they wear it, or say they come and get it straight, but they want to wear it naturally for the rest of the time. Am I picking the right texture that's going to be able to press out and then be curly the next day?
Yeah.
Oh, this person's got a little bit of a receding hairline right here.
Yeah.
So I can't go up on a certain area. I've got to customize something. So it takes a lot. I have to think about everything. I've got to remember everybody. I've got to remember the name. I've got to remember their type of hair, the insole that they've got, all of those things. And funny enough, I don't forget. I forget to book an appointment. I forget somebody called me last week to say, hey, Sam, I'm trying to get in your schedule. I forget stuff like that, but I don't forget each person and their hair and what they have or what they need.
And that's not, you don't even just only do like, you know, the micro links and all that. You do like regular, I don't say regular hair, but you know, regular stuff too, right?
Yes.
A lady was in there one day of short hair and she walked in. That was the first time I was like, oh wait, you do regular hair too. And I forgot, right?
Yes,
So,
it's rare, but I do.
Yes.
It's rare.
Your favorite one is your nana, your granny?
Yes.
She is the flyest thing.
Oh, goodness. She always calls me, girl, I need my hair done. When can you fit me in? I'm like, ugh. I wish I could tell a book on my side, but I can't do that.
You can't do that?
So I'd be good. And I pick her up on my little lunch break and say, come on, Granny. She always does my floor for me. She'll sweep up the floor. She's so a sweetheart.
Yes, sweet.
But, and my nana comes too.
Which one? I'm talking about.
So you're talking about my granny, my dad's mom.
Yes.
My nana comes too and she be trying to sweep the floor. I'm like, you have a can, girl. Sit down.
You
let me cater to you. They make me laugh because then they try to pay me. I'm like, you done paid it all.
This is it, right? Like, what are you
never
doing?
Have to pay, but if you want to tip me, I'll take that tip.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, you don't ever have to pay me.
Never.
Like, I love when my family comes in. My mama has to pay them. I rough her up. My mama has to pay.
That is,
I love you, Mom.
Funny. So what does success look like for you? Like long term, the business, you know, 10 years from now, what is, you know what, this was success for me.
Okay. So my plan, real quick, I would like to open up a business in town that not only houses the extensions, but has a supply of extensions that teaches, doubles as a school as well. And then I would like to have one in New York. I would like to have one in London. I would like to have one maybe in Dubai. So for me, it's not just, I don't want to ever be bound or stuck to Bermuda. I really want to be able to move and travel, as well as, for me, on Instagram, we see so many hair gurus in the US with big followings, making millions of dollars. And for me, it's not monetary. I want to teach healthy hair care. I want to teach healthy extension techniques. I want to teach women how to better care for their hair so that when they're in their 50s and 60s and 70s, they don't have hair loss.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest thing. So I don't want it to just be here. I want it to be everywhere. And I want that standard that I'm holding to be everywhere.
Yeah.
So for me, that would be success, is having basically a hair mecca everywhere and anywhere I can think of one.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love. So I guess that kind of goes into the last question a little bit about what you want to be remembered for, but not necessarily just in business, but just Samaela Cannonier in general. Like, what do you want to be remembered for?
That's a difficult one in a sense, because it's so much that you could be remembered for. I think if we're talking in general and not necessarily having to do with hair, I just want to be remembered for being loving and kind to other people. I think that I have a big heart overall, and I deal with so many people on a day-to-day basis, and it can be difficult because people are challenging. We're in a challenging world now. So many stresses, so many people going through so many things. On any given day, somebody's coming in late. Things didn't go their way. And to be understanding, I could be a stickler sometimes because, some people just tear it. They do. But I just want to be known for being loving and kind and for being genuine all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really my biggest, I think that's where I'm trying to just head in a direction where I'm teachable, but I'm also teaching others to be loving and kind to one another, because I tell my children this all the time. It pays nothing. It costs nothing to be kind to somebody.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we just need that. And with this business coming off of the pandemic, I really started during the pandemic, really being available to listen to people and to be there for people just to put a smile on their face. Like, that is my greatest takeaway every single day. Sis loved her hair. Sis walked out smiling. She came in here frowning. She's had a bad week. But sis walked out looking good.
Yeah, it's nothing like a fresh
for me, I just love to make people smile. I love to make people feel comfortable. And I love just to be loving to people. And my way of doing that, my outward expression of that is doing their hair. So that's my thing.
All right, Samaela. So if someone is interested in getting their hair done, what's the best way for them to find you?
Well, Instagram, I always send everybody to my Instagram page. So it's thecrownedexperience.sl. And or they can call me at 705-4282. That is my business line. And I do answer it between the hours of 10 and 5 o'clock.
There you go.
Not on the weekends. But
yeah,
that's the best way to get in contact with me.
I love it. All right, guys. So we had the lovely Samaela Cannonier in here with me today. She is the CEO and founder of the Crowned Experience. She also does my hair. And I'm just so grateful for you coming in today. And I really appreciate all the gems that you dropped. I kind of know what the reels are going to be already based on what you've been saying. So I'm excited. Anyway, guys, as always, do not forget to like and subscribe this episode, and then head over to the page and actually subscribe. Make sure you go to the website, www.hustleheartpodcast.com. Make sure you rate this episode. Tell me what you think. Give me back any feedback, any additional questions you may have for Sam. And then also make sure you sign up to be in our VIP club. You get the episodes early. And then if we are doing any giveaways, they're all done there. So once again, thank you for watching another episode of Hustle. I forgot my own podcast name. Hustle Her Podcast.